The weight of exhaustion pulls at my shoulders as I fumble with my keys, barely registering the familiar click of my front door lock. Another day of endless meetings and forced smiles leaves me craving the sanctuary of my empty apartment. I drop my bag by the door, the soft thud echoing in the silence, and reach for my phone on the hallway table where I'd forgotten it this morning. The screen illuminates with a notification that makes me pause. A video message from Aunt Susan. Strangesh never sends videos. My thumb hovers over the play button as I sink into my favorite armchair, the one that still smells faintly of my grandmother's perfume. The familiar scent usually brings comfort, but tonight something feels off. A whisper of unease crawls up my spine as I press play. The video opens to my parents' living room, the one where I spent countless holidays trying to earn their approval. Mom's voice carries through the speaker first, sharp with laughter that sounds nothing like the careful tone she uses with me. "It's almost too easy," she says, and my breath catches at the cruel edge in her words. Dad leans into frame, his face flushed from what must be his third glass of wine. "Our little ATM?" He chuckles, and my stomach lurches. "Just mention family obligation and she'll empty her savings. Did you see how fast she transferred the money for Ethan's emergency last week?" My brother's voice joins in, and the betrayal cuts deeper. "She didn't even ask what it was for." Their laughter fills my apartment, bouncing off the walls until I can barely breathe. My hands shake so badly I almost drop the phone, but I can't look away. Every word they speak hammers another crack into the foundation of what I thought was truth. The screen blurs as tears well up, but I force myself to keep watching. Years of memories flash through my mind. Mom's urgent calls about overdue bills, Dad showing up at my workplace to demand help with the mortgage, Ethan's endless string of crises that only money could solve. Each recollection takes on a darker shade now, revealing the manipulation I was too loyal to see. "She's so desperate to be the good daughter." Mom's voice drips with satisfaction. "Remember when she skipped her vacation to pay for the roof repairs?" I remember the overtime hours, the missed opportunities, the dreams I put on hold, all to prove my worth to people who saw me as nothing more than a walking bank account. My chest tightens until each breath feels like swallowing glass. The video continues, but their voices fade beneath the roaring in my ears. I grip the armrest, anchoring myself as my world tilts on its axis. The soft fabric under my fingers feels wrong somehow, too normal for a moment that's shattering everything I thought I knew. The timestamp in the corner shows the video was recorded just yesterday during what Mom called a small family gathering I was too busy to attend. Too busy working extra hours to build up my savings again after Ethan's latest emergency. A notification pops up, Aunt Susan sending frantic follow-up texts. "Oh God, Lily, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to send that to you. Please delete it." But she did send it, and I can't unsee it. I replay the video, each viewing crystallizing the truth I've spent years denying, the casual cruelty in their laughter, the calculated manipulation in their plans, the complete absence of love in their eyes when they speak my name. My phone buzzes with an incoming call from Mom. Her contact photo smiles up at me, the same practice smile she uses when she needs something. My finger hovers over the answer button, years of conditioning urging me to respond, to smooth things over, to keep the peace at any cost. But for the first time, I see the pattern for what it is. Each call, each crisis, each guilt-laden conversation designed to separate me from my money and my self-worth. The phone keeps buzzing as I stare at the scattered bills on my desk, physical reminders of my family's emergencies. A hard knot forms in my throat as I pick up a pen and begin to write, my hands still trembling, but my vision clearing. I will not be manipulated anymore. The words look strange on paper, foreign yet freeing. I've spent so long being the good daughter, the reliable sister, the endless source of support. But as I sit in my darkening apartment watching my mother's call fade to a missed notification, I realize something that shakes me to my core. I don't know who I am without their demands. Each family member has played their part perfectly in this manipulation. Mom, the maestro of guilt trips, her voice always trembling with manufactured crisis. Dad, the enforcer, showing up at my workplace to shame me into compliance when I dare to hesitate. And Ethan, my baby brother, the one I've protected since childhood, wielding my love for him like a weapon. The video plays one final time, and I watch them with new eyes. Mom's perfectly timed sighs when she needs money. Dad's practiced scowl that appears the moment I question any request. Ethan's wounded looks that make me feel like I'm abandoning him if I say no. They've crafted their roles in this performance with devastating precision. My phone lights up again, Ethan this time. The text preview shows just enough. Sis, I really need your help with. I set the phone face down on my desk. In the sudden silence, a question rises that I can't push away. How can I break free when every piece of who I am has been shaped by their manipulation? The answer waits somewhere in the darkness beyond their influence, and for the first time in my life, I'm ready to find it. Have you ever discovered that the people closest to you aren't who you thought they were? Share your story in the comments below. The video plays again in front of me, but this time I notice something I missed before. A series of notifications flash across the top of the screen, frantic messages from Aunt Susan appearing in real time as she recorded. Karen, are you sure about this? What if she finds out? We should delete this. My hands steady on the phone as the reality crystallizes. This wasn't just a casual moment of cruelty caught on camera. They planned this. Every laugh, every cruel comment, it was all orchestrated. Mom's voice cuts through the speaker again, and the memories flood in like a toxic tide. Last month's barrage of texts about the mortgage payment. Your father and I could lose everything. Is that what you want? The month before that, Ethan's in trouble. He needs help now. And 2 weeks ago, why aren't you answering? Family should come first. Each message arrives with perfect timing, always when I'm at my most vulnerable, late at night after a long day at work, or early morning when my defenses are down. The constant ping of notifications trained me like Pavlov's dog, each sound a reminder of my failure to meet their endless needs. Dad's tactics are more direct. I close my eyes and I'm back at my office 3 months ago, his broad frame casting a shadow over my desk as coworkers pretend not to stare. Your mother's crying because of you, he announced loud enough for everyone to hear. Is this job more important than your family? The memory makes my chest tight. I'd transferred the money right there, fingers trembling on the keyboard just to make him leave, just like I always do. Ethan's voice drifts from the phone now, his familiar laugh twisting into something ugly. Watch this, sis. I really need your help. It's an emergency. Works every time. My brother. My baby brother, who I've protected since he was small enough to hide behind me during thunderstorms. The last time he called with an emergency, I canceled my vacation plans to help him. The time before that, I dipped into my retirement savings. Each crisis manufactured, each desperate plea a performance designed to separate me from my money and my self-worth. A text from Jessica lights up my screen, breaking through the spiral of memories. Hey, you've seemed off lately. Want to grab coffee? Jessica, who noticed something was wrong weeks ago, who gently suggested I talk to her mentor Michael about setting boundaries. I dismissed her concerns then, defending my family's honor like a good daughter should. My fingers hover over the keyboard before I type, "Are you free now?" Her response comes quickly. "Always for you? Usual spot?" I need this someone outside the toxic bubble of my family's influence, someone who won't demand anything except honesty. The phone rings, Mom's name flashing on the screen. Her voice comes through sharp and cold. "What do you think you're doing? Without your money, this family falls apart. Is that what you want? Your father's health isn't getting any better, and Ethan's about to lose his apartment." She pauses, letting the weight of her words sink in. "If you abandon us now, don't expect to ever be welcomed back." The familiar guilt rises, but something else rises with it. Anger. Hot and clarifying, burning away the fog of manipulation. My fingers move across the keyboard, typing out words I never thought I'd dare to send. "I'm not sending money this month." The response is immediate. Accusations of betrayal, reminders of all they've sacrificed, threats of what my defiance will cost. Each message designed to break my resolve, to force me back into line. My phone buzzes with another message, this time from Michael, Jessica's mentor. "Jessica told me what's happening. Remember, setting boundaries isn't betrayal. Call me if you need backup." But as the texts pour in, I notice my laptop screen blinking with a new email notification. The subject line stops my breath. R.E. Lily's account, next steps. I open it with trembling fingers, and my world shifts again. There, in crisp black and white, is an email chain between my family members, detailing their plans for the coming months. Each crisis scheduled and scripted, each guilt trip carefully crafted to maximize impact. They've been coordinating their attacks, timing their demands to ensure I never have a chance to build my savings or question their motives. The evidence of their calculations sears itself into my mind. This isn't just about money anymore. This is about power, control, the systematic destruction of my independence disguised as family obligation. Mom's contact photo flashes on my phone again, her practiced smile now a grotesque reminder of every lie she's ever told me. But for the first time, I let it ring unanswered, my eyes fixed on the email that changes everything. What hidden truths do you think lie beneath a toxic family's facade? Comment below with your theories. My shoulders tense as Karen's voice cuts through the bustling office, sharp and precise as a surgeon's blade. How dare you ignore my calls? The words slice across the marketing department's open floor plan, drawing curious glances from my colleagues. I grip my coffee mug tighter, willing my hands not to shake. Mom, I'm at work. The words come out steadier than I feel. Behind me, I hear Sarah from accounting pause her typing. Oh, so now you're too important to help your family? Karen's laugh crackles through the speakerphone, the same calculated laugh I heard in that video. What happened to being grateful for everything we've done for you? Heat creeps up my neck as I notice Tom, my supervisor, emerging from his office. His eyebrows rise at the commotion. I fumble to switch off the speaker, but Karen's voice has already achieved its intended effect. The damage is done. Later that evening, at Bellini's restaurant where the families gathered for Uncle Mike's birthday, I slide into a corner booth hoping to stay invisible. But Richard's voice carries across the white tablecloths and wine glasses, loud enough to ensure everyone hears. Some people, he announces to the table of relatives, swirling his third glass of Cabernet, think they're too good for family once they get a fancy office job. His eyes fix on me, lips curling into a smirk. Isn't that right, Lily? The fresh bruise to my reputation stings, but something else rises in my chest, a familiar pressure building like steam in a kettle. I watch him take another self-satisfied sip, and suddenly I'm tired. Tired of being the punching bag. Tired of measuring my worth in dollars withdrawn. I set down my fork, the clatter against fine china drawing attention. Actually, Dad, I think it's more that some people view family as an ATM rather than actual relatives. The words surprise even me with their clarity. Richard chokes mid-sip. Aunt Susan's eyes widen. She knows exactly what I'm referring to. The video she accidentally sent still burns in my phone. A digital smoking gun. That night in my apartment, I stand before the bathroom mirror. The woman staring back looks different somehow, shoulders straighter, jaw set with newfound determination. I think of Karen's performance at my office, of Richard's theatrical dismantling of my character at dinner. Each attempt to shame me has only crystallized something I've been afraid to admit. Their power over me exists only because I've allowed it. My phone buzzes on the counter, another text from Ethan. Hey sis, hate to ask, but I'm in a really tight spot. I let it sit unanswered, focusing instead on my reflection. The constant pressure of their demands has shaped me like water shapes rock, wearing away at my edges until I fit the mold they created. But erosion can be stopped. Damage can be reinforced. I grab my laptop and open a new document. My fingers hover over the keys for a moment before I begin typing. Documentation of financial exploitation. The title stares back at me, both terrifying and liberating. I begin listing every emergency payment, every guilt-laden transfer, every manipulation disguised as family obligation. The numbers add up far too quickly. Years of helping out with mortgages, car payments, and Ethan's endless crises scroll down my screen. Each entry reinforces my resolve. This isn't help anymore. It's systematic exploitation. A new text lights up my phone, Jessica, this time. Coffee tomorrow? Been worried about you. Jessica, who's watched this pattern play out for years. Jessica, who's never asked me for a dime. I text back a quick, yes, something warming in my chest that feels like hope. The next morning, the familiar scent of coffee and pastries at the daily grind wraps around me like a comfortable sweater. Jessica slides into the seat across from me, and I notice Michael, my old mentor from grad school, approaching with 3 steaming mugs. I hope you don't mind, Jessica says. I asked Michael to join us. We're worried, Lil. Michael sets down the coffee and fixes me with the same steady gaze that got me through my thesis anxiety. Your father came by my office yesterday, he says quietly, making some interesting claims about your mental state. The old Lily would have crumbled at this news, but I think of the documentation waiting on my laptop, of Karen's public performance, of Richard's wine-soaked accusations. I wrap my hands around the warm mug, drawing strength from its solidity. They're escalating, I say, surprised by the clinical tone in my voice, because they're losing control. Jessica reaches across the table, squeezing my hand. You don't have to go through this alone. Michael nods, pulling out a business card. I have a friend who specializes in financial abuse cases, just to understand your options. I take the card, its edges sharp and clean against my fingers. In its blank white surface, I see possibilities I've never allowed myself to consider. The pressure in my chest transforms into something else, not quite peace, not quite triumph, but perhaps the first real breath I've taken in years. Just remember, Ethan's voice cuts through the weekend quiet of Thompson Park. Everything our parents did was for you, Lily. The music lessons, the college tours. He gestures broadly to our gathered friends at the community barbecue, his voice carrying across the lawn. While I had to figure everything out myself, I watch the faces of our childhood friends shift uncomfortably. This is classic Ethan turning every gathering into a performance of his victimhood. Tell them about the car they bought you, he continues, voice dripping with mock sweetness, while I had to take the bus. The car they convinced me to co-sign for, I correct quietly. The one I'm still paying off 5 years later. His face reddens. There you go again, twisting everything. You know what your problem is, Lily? You're selfish. You've always been selfish. Something inside me snaps. Years of swallowed responses rise to the surface. Selfish? My voice carries across the stunned silence. Was it selfish when I drained my savings for your business venture? Or when I worked double shifts to cover Mom's mortgage? Each word feels like breaking free from invisible chains. Tell them about the video, Ethan, the one where you all laughed about your little ATM. He pales, mouth opening and closing like a fish. Around us, the murmurs begin. Later that night, I sit cross-legged on my bedroom floor, surrounded by old photo albums. Each smiling family photo now tells a different story. The Christmas I couldn't afford a vacation because of Dad's emergency. The graduation where Mom guilted me into paying for Ethan's student loan payment instead of putting a down payment on a house. My fingers trace the edges of a photo from my first job celebration. I'm beaming at the camera, unaware that my starting bonus would disappear into Karen's credit card debt the very next week. Tears blur my vision, but they feel different now, not tears of hurt, but of release. At my desk, I open my laptop. The documentation I started grows more detailed. Dates, amounts, screenshots of texts. Each piece of evidence transforms from a source of shame into a weapon of truth. I create folders, organize years of financial records, and start recording every interaction. A plan takes shape in my mind, not just escape, but exposure. My hands pause over the keyboard as I open a final folder buried deep in my email archive. Inside, I find what I've been looking for, the original loan documents for the house. The ones with my signature forged in Karen's hasty scrawl, the missing piece that changes everything. I stand before the mirror again, but this time I don't see a victim. I see a woman who's done being the family scapegoat. I will not be manipulated anymore, I declare to my reflection, voice steady and clear. I will not be their ATM. The pressure in my chest transforms into something else, not quite peace, not quite triumph, but perhaps the first real breath I've taken in years. The cursor blinks on my screen, steady as a heartbeat. I've typed and deleted the email subject line 7 times now, but the words finally feel right. Financial record of family support 2020 to 2024. My fingers hover over the keyboard as I review the spreadsheet one last time. Every transaction, every guilt-laden transfer, every emergency payment meticulously documented. The numbers tell their own story, one of systematic exploitation that makes my stomach clench. Send me your bank statements. Michael had advised yesterday, we'll build an ironclad case. My mentor's steady voice echoes in my mind as I copy the data into the email body, each line an indictment. Asterisk January 2020. Emergency roof repair, $8,400. February 2020. Mom's overdue medical bills, $3,200. It's March 2020. Ethan's car trouble, $2,800 asterisk. The list stretches endlessly. 4 years of financial drainage, perfectly cataloged. My hands shake slightly as I add the total at the bottom, $147,632. Nearly my entire life savings gone to feed their endless needs. The phone rings, Mom's ringtone. I silence it without looking, focusing instead on the final paragraph of my email. This will be my last communication regarding financial support. Any further attempts to extract money will be met with legal action. All documentation has been shared with my attorney. I hit send before I can second-guess myself. The whoosh of the sent email feels like a door slamming shut. The response is immediate and explosive. My phone erupts with notifications. Mom's voice trembles in her voicemail. How dare you air our private business like this, after everything we've done for you? I delete it mid-sentence. Dad's message is next, his tone sharp enough to cut. You ungrateful little, delete. A text from Ethan pops up. Way to stab your family in the back. Real classy, sis. I screenshot it for evidence and block his number. The cafe where I meet Jessica for lunch becomes my sanctuary from the digital onslaught. The familiar scent of coffee and pastries grounds me as I slide into our usual corner booth. But peace is short, lived Ethan's voice cuts through the ambient chatter. There's my sister, the family traitor. He's already halfway to our table, cheeks flushed with what I recognize as his performative rage. Everyone, want to hear how she's abandoning her own blood? The cafe falls quiet. My chest tightens as heads turn our way. This is exactly the kind of public scene I've always dreaded, the reason I've given in so many times before. But something has shifted inside me. I meet his gaze steadily. You mean how I'm refusing to be your personal ATM anymore? A couple at the next table snickers. Ethan's face darkens. You've taken everything from us, he spits. Actually, I pull out my phone, opening the spreadsheet. I can show you exactly who took what from whom. Would you like me to share it with everyone here? The color drains from his face. He backs away, nearly stumbling into a waiter's tray. You've changed, he mutters, but the venom in his voice has been replaced by something that sounds almost like fear. Yes, I say simply, I have. Later that evening, in the community hall I've rented for this purpose, I stand before my extended family with a projector remote in my hand. The screen behind me displays the first of many damning pieces of evidence. See screenshots, bank statements, recorded conversations, all meticulously organized. I've called this meeting, my voice carries clearly through the stunned silence, to ensure complete transparency about our family's financial situation. Click. Mom's frantic text messages about fictional emergencies fill the screen. Click. Dad's threatening emails demanding more money. Click. Ethan's manipulative pleas for just one more loan. Aunt Susan's hand flies to her mouth. Uncle Jim stares at his shoes. Cousin Rachel whispers something to her husband that makes him shake his head in disgust. As I continue my presentation, I watch the family's carefully constructed facade crumble. With each new revelation, their web of lies unravels further. The power they've held over me for so long dissolves in the harsh light of truth. My phone buzzes with a notification. Jessica has posted our cafe confrontation online, accompanied by a fierce defense of my actions. Michael's response appears moments later, sharing my documented evidence with his considerable professional network. Other supporters join in, their voices creating a shield wall of solidarity around me. The mighty Karen and Richard, my manipulative parents, sit frozen in their chairs, their usual arsenal of guilt and threats rendered useless by the public exposure. Ethan, my once cocky brother, seems to shrink with each new piece of evidence. I end the presentation with a final screenshot, the video that started it all, where they laughed about exploiting my generosity. The sound of their cruel laughter fills the room, but this time it doesn't wound me. Instead, it feels like the final nail in the coffin of their control. As the crowd disperses, I catch a glimpse of something I never expected. Ethan, alone in the corner, his shoulders slumped as he stares at his phone. For a moment, the arrogant mask slips, revealing something that looks almost like regret. He quickly looks away when he notices me watching. Through the thin walls of the hall, I overhear Aunt Susan's voice, thick with emotion as she speaks into her phone. I can't believe what we've done to her. All these years. She trails off, and I recognize the sound of someone grappling with their own complicity. Back in my apartment, I spread the evidence across my desk: bank statements, screenshots, recorded calls. My laptop screen glows with social media reactions, each supportive comment another brick in the wall between me and my family's manipulation. I open a fresh document and begin typing. Legal action preparation, phase 1. The familiar tension in my shoulders eases as I outline my next steps, each piece of evidence carefully cataloged, each potential legal argument mapped out. This isn't just reaction anymore, it's strategy. My hands steady as I work, the trembling uncertainty of the past replaced by methodical purpose. A notification breaks my concentration. A new email, sender anonymous, subject line cryptic. The final piece of the puzzle is closer than you think. My heart pounds as I read the preview text. Whatever this is, it could change everything again. The legal notice lands in my inbox with the sharp ping of an incoming email. Another one. I've received 15 similar messages in the past hour, each more threatening than the last. My mother's latest reads like a war declaration, peppered with phrases like moral bankruptcy and sacred family duty. My phone buzzes again, Dad this time. His voicemail notification popping up alongside a local news article where he's quoted calling me a daughter who's abandoned her family's values. The irony would be funny if it didn't make my stomach twist. I minimize his message and open my laptop instead. The document I've been preparing glows on the screen. Bank statements, text messages, recorded conversations, a digital paper trail of years of exploitation. Each piece of evidence has been meticulously organized, ready for the press conference I've scheduled for tomorrow. My brother's face appears on the television as I'm reviewing the files. He's standing at a podium, Mom hovering by his side like a puppet master. Family isn't just about blood, Ethan declares, his voice cracking with manufactured emotion. It's about sacrifice, about responsibility. My sister has forgotten that. The words hit their intended mark. Me chest tightens with familiar guilt, but this time, the feeling doesn't take root. Instead, I think of the video that started all this, of their laughter as they called me their walking ATM. The memory straightens my spine. My phone lights up with a message from Sarah, my PR consultant. Community centers booked. Local press confirmed. You ready? My fingers hover over the keyboard for a moment before I type, yes. The next morning, I stand before a packed room. Cameras click and whir as I step up to the podium, my USB drive containing the evidence feeling heavy in my hand. The weight of what I'm about to do settles on my shoulders, but it doesn't crush me. Not anymore. For years, I begin, my voice steady despite my racing heart. I believed that family meant sacrificing everything, your savings, your dreams, your self-worth. Today, I'm going to show you what that sacrifice really looked like. The first bank statement appears on the screen behind me. Mom's urgent text about the mortgage payment she couldn't make, the one I later discovered she'd spent on a luxury cruise. Dad's threatening email about showing up at my workplace if I didn't help with Ethan's emergency car repairs, the same car he sold a week later for profit. Murmurs ripple through the crowd as each piece of evidence builds upon the last. The room grows tense with collective shock as the full scope of their manipulation unfolds on the screen. I keep my voice level, letting the facts speak for themselves. The video clip of my family's laughter plays last. The sound echoes through the silent room, their cruel words about their little ATM landing with devastating clarity. When the screen goes dark, the silence holds for one breath. 2, before erupting into a storm of camera flashes and shouted questions. My phone explodes with notifications as the story hits social media. Within hours, the video goes viral, my family's carefully crafted image crumbling under the weight of their exposed lies. Local news stations pick up the story, their coverage spreading like wildfire across national networks. A week later, I stand before another audience, this time at a community forum on financial abuse. Mom, Dad, and Ethan sit in the front row, their lawyers flanking them like guards. They're here to attempt damage control, but their usual tactics feel hollow under the harsh fluorescent lights and dozens of watchful eyes. You've heard my family's version of events, I say into the microphone, my voice carrying to every corner of the room. About duty, about obligation, about the daughter who betrayed their trust. I pause, meeting each of their eyes in turn. But obligation isn't love, duty isn't family, and exposing abuse isn't betrayal. The applause starts slowly, then builds into a wave that drowns out my parents' attempts to interrupt. I watch their faces as their last grip on control slips away, replaced by the dawning realization that their power was always built on sand. The final battle takes place in a courtroom 3 days later. My lawyer presents our dossier to a panel of judges, the evidence even more damning under the stark courtroom lights. Mom and Dad sit rigid in their chairs as the judge reviews years of financial manipulation, their faces growing paler with each documented instance of exploitation. When the judge speaks, her voice rings with certainty. The court finds clear evidence of systematic financial exploitation. She looks directly at my family. All claims on Miss Anderson's financial support are hereby nullified. The words echo through the courtroom, and for the first time in years, I feel truly free. The gallery erupts in supportive murmurs as my family's lawyers shuffle their papers, desperately searching for grounds to appeal. But we all know it's over. As I leave the courthouse, reporters thrust microphones toward me, asking how it feels to win, but my attention is caught by something else. My phone screen lighting up with a notification. An encrypted message from an unknown number. The final chapter is yet to be written. I tuck the phone away, feeling the weight of unfinished business settle alongside my victory. The truth has been told, justice has been served, but something tells me this story isn't over yet. Have you ever wondered if true revenge brings freedom or if it just creates new battles to fight? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Morning light streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting long shadows across my newly renovated downtown Seattle apartment. The space feels different now, lighter somehow, as if the fresh paint and rearranged furniture have scrubbed away the lingering darkness of the past year. I arrange a silver frame on my desk, smiling at the photo of Jessica and me at last month's charity run. Next to it, I place the certificate from my self-empowerment workshop and a handwritten note from Michael that simply reads, "You've got this." Such simple words, but they mean everything now. My laptop screen glows with my updated 5-year plan. The goals I've set feel ambitious but achievable, expanding my marketing consultancy, leading workshops for others, breaking free from financial abuse, maybe even writing a book someday. Each milestone represents another step away from the person I used to be, the family ATM, the perpetual caregiver, the woman who measured her worth in sacrifices. The local cafe where I now sit with Jessica bears little resemblance to the place where I once huddled in corners, answering Karen's frantic calls about imaginary emergencies. The afternoon sun warms the wooden table between us as Jessica describes her latest project challenges. The client keeps moving the deadline, she says, frustration evident in her voice. I take a thoughtful sip of my tea, considering her words. Have you discussed implementing a change order process? It could help manage scope creep. The confidence in my voice surprises me, not because the advice isn't sound, but because I remember a time when I wouldn't have trusted my own judgment enough to offer it. The community center's meeting room feels intimate with its warm lighting and circle of chairs. 10 faces turn toward me as I share my story, each person carrying their own burden of toxic family dynamics. My voice remains steady as I describe the video that changed everything, the subsequent battles, and the freedom I found in finally saying, no. Recovery isn't linear, I explain, catching Michael's encouraging nod from the doorway. Some days you'll want to give in, to believe their promises of change. But healing begins when you realize that protecting yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. The rain creates a gentle backdrop as I notice Hera woman standing outside the library, shoulders hunched, phone clutched in trembling hands. I recognize that posture, that look of desperate resignation. I'd worn it myself countless times. Are you okay? I ask softly, approaching with careful steps. Her name is Maria, and her story tumbles out between sobs, a familiar tale of family members who view love as a transaction, of guilt used as currency, of dreams postponed for others' emergencies. We find shelter under a nearby park pavilion, and I share my own journey, watching hope slowly replace despair in her eyes. The first step, I tell her, is believing you deserve better. Dawn breaks over Puget Sound, painting the water in shades of gold and promise. From my balcony, I watch seabirds wheel against the brightening sky, their freedom a reflection of my own. A text notification breaks the morning silence, Ethan, probably with another crisis, another demand. I don't open it. Instead, I think about the woman I've become, the one who helps others find their voice, who knows her worth isn't measured in dollars given or sacrifices made. The one who finally understands that real love doesn't demand your self-destruction. The community art exhibit pulses with energy as I weave through the crowd, each piece telling its own story of resilience and renewal. A striking phoenix rises from scattered chains, its wings spread wide against a backdrop of breaking dawn. The artist Sarah catches my eye and smiles. "Your story inspired this piece," she says, extending her hand. I join a small group gathered near a multimedia installation, exchanging stories and contact information. A photographer named Alex shares his vision for documenting survivors' journeys. A counselor, Diana, discusses starting a workshop series for financial empowerment. Each conversation opens new doors, new possibilities. My phone fills with new connections, mail addresses, social media handles, tentative lunch dates. These aren't just networking contacts. They're the foundation of something deeper. Authentic friendships built on mutual understanding and respect, not obligation and guilt. The future stretches before me, vast and unmarked, a blank canvas waiting to be filled with genuine relationships, personal growth, and dreams that belong solely to me. For the first time in my life, I'm not afraid of what tomorrow might bring. I am enough, exactly as I am. What does freedom mean to you? Share your vision of a fresh start in the comments below.
The harsh glow of my laptop casts shadows across my cramped dining table as I squint at another spreadsheet. 14 hours at the office wasn't enough to finish the Henderson portfolio. So here I am, midnight approaching, still working while the rest of Boston sleeps. I massage my temples, trying to focus on the numbers that have begun to blur together. My apartment is quiet except for the occasional hum of the old refrigerator. It's modstone bedroom when I could afford to, aging appliances when I could manage newer, but these sacrifices have a purpose. Family comes first. Always has. My phone vibrates against the table, Madison's name lighting up the screen. Despite the exhaustion weighing on my shoulders, a smile tugs at my lips. My little sister, probably calling about weekend plans or needing advice on her graduate school project. "Hello?" I answer, my voice warm despite my fatigue. Instead of Madison's voice, I hear the unmistakable sound of glasses clinking, laughter bubbling, music playing in the background. A party. My grip on the phone tightens. "Hello, Madison?" I try again, louder this time. The noise continues, no response. Must be a pocket dial. I'm about to hang up when I hear my name cut through the background chatter. "Can you believe Daphne still thinks she's helping us?" Madison's voice, clear and cutting. I freeze, the words hanging in the air between us, though she doesn't know I'm listening. She's basically an ATM with a pulse. My mother's laughter follows, unmistakable and cruel. The sound pierces me like a physical blow, stealing my breath. She owes us for not having kids or a husband. Caleb's voice joins in, slurring slightly. What else is she going to spend money on? I sink into my chair, unable to move, unable to end the call. The calculator app on my screen blurs as tears threaten. Let's tell her rent went up by $250. Madison again, her tone calculating. Nothing like the grateful sister who hugged me last week when I covered her textbook costs. Get her to cover utilities and my spa days too. Mom's voice now, greedy and confident. Mom, who I've been paying $1,450 in rent for every month, who told me last week about her medical expenses that I covered without question. The worst part comes last, spoken by Madison with such casual cruelty it makes my stomach turn. It's so easy to guilt her, she always folds. My hand trembles as I grip the phone. I can't seem to hang up, Can't stop listening to this nightmare unfolding in real time. Tears slide silently down my cheeks, landing on the spreadsheet where I've been calculating how many more months until I can finally start my emergency fund again. The memories flood in unbidden. The vacation to Maine I canceled 3 years ago when Caleb had his emergency tuition shortfall. The dental work I postponed twice when Madison's car needed repairs that somehow cost exactly what I'd saved for my root canal. The second job I took last year, bartending weekends when mom claimed she needed help with medical bills I never saw documentation for, but trusted were real Boswell, because she's my mother. 5 years of sacrifices parade through my mind in merciless detail. 5 years of family emergencies that somehow aligned perfectly with my bonus schedule. 5 years of their grateful faces, now revealed as masks hiding contempt. I finally pressed the end call button, setting the phone down with unnatural care, as if it might shatter like my trust just did. The apartment feels colder suddenly, the silence heavier. I wipe the tears from my face with the back of my hand. My posture straightens almost of its own accord. Something shifts inside me past the hurt, past the betrayal. A calm clarity emerges. I've spent years analyzing financial data, finding patterns others miss. How did I miss this? I pick up my phone again, my fingers steady now as I type. Hey, I think my phone glitched weird signal just now. Everything okay? The response comes quickly. All good, just having dinner with mom and Caleb. Talk tomorrow? No mention of a party. Another lie, so effortless it's chilling. I close my laptop, pushing aside the Henderson portfolio. It can wait until morning. Instead, I open a new spreadsheet, naming it something I should have created years ago. Exit strategy. The title stares back at me, both terrifying and liberating. For the first time in 5 years, I'm not thinking about how to help my family. I'm thinking about how to help myself, and they'll never see it coming. Bank statements cover my dining table like fallen leaves, each one a record of my generosity or my gullibility. I've spent the past 3 hours meticulously cataloging every transaction, every dollar siphoned from my accounts over 5 years. The numbers stare back at me, cold and damning. $87,000, just in rent payments. My stomach twists as I trace a finger over the highlighted figures. That's not counting emergencies, the temporary loans, the birthday gifts, and holiday presents. The money I could have used for a down payment on my own home. A retirement fund. The dental work I keep postponing. How did I miss this? I whisper to my empty apartment. The radiator hisses in response, the only sound besides my ragged breathing. My laptop glows in the dim light as I type Madison's name into Facebook's search bar. I haven't checked her social media in months, too busy working, too busy supporting them. 3 scrolls down and my breath catches. There she is, cocktail in hand, lounging by a resort pool I've never seen. Weekend getaway, blessed? The caption reads, dated 2 weeks after she called in tears about her impossible utility bill that I immediately paid. I click through to mom's profile next. Linda Morgan, whose medical appointments have drained my emergency fund twice this year. Linda Morgan, who now smiles back at me from the chair of an upscale salon, her fresh highlights costing more than I spend on haircuts in a year. Had to treat myself. New look, new chapter. The post is dated 3 days after I transferred $600 for what she called critical medical tests. My hands shake as I search for Caleb, my little brother, supposedly buried in textbooks and struggling to make tuition payments. The evidence hits like a physical blow. Caleb in Las Vegas, arm around a girl I've never seen, captioned, study break. During the weekend, he told me he couldn't call because he was locked in the library, cramming for finals. I closed my laptop, unable to look anymore. The betrayal is too raw, too complete. Memory after memory resurfaces, now cast in the harsh light of truth. Last Christmas, dropping off carefully selected gifts at their door, Mom claiming she was too tired for me to come inside. The birthday dinner I arranged for Linda at her favorite restaurant, where they left an hour early for a headache that didn't stop them from posting bar photos later that night. The promotion celebration no one attended because of car trouble. The pattern is so clear now. Texts appearing only when bills were due, calls that never asked how I was doing, only what I could give. My phone buzzes on the table. Mom's name appears on the screen, and for the first time, I feel nothing but a cold clarity. Daphne, honey, it's been ages. We're having a little family dinner on Sunday. Can you make it? My voice doesn't betray me as I accept the invitation, already calculating my next move. I'd love to. Should I bring anything? Just yourself, she says warmly, the same warmth I once mistook for love instead of opportunity. After ending the call, I stand before my bathroom mirror, practicing normal smiles, rehearsing casual responses. Oh, rent went up again? That's terrible. Smile, sympathetic nod. Another unexpected bill? That must be so stressful. Concerned frown, but not too deep. I open my closet, pushing past the few nice pieces I've allowed myself. No, those won't do. I select faded jeans, a sweater with worn elbows. The illusion of struggle must be maintained a little longer. For dessert, I'll bring my chocolate cake, the one they always praise, but never quite appreciate I bake from scratch to save money. The irony doesn't escape me as I write down ingredients I'll need. You've been supporting them for years? Eleanor's fork freezes halfway to her mouth, her salad momentarily forgotten as we sit in the corner booth of the cafe across from my office. I've paid their rent since Mom claimed she couldn't work full-time after her back injury. The air quotes I make feel bitter, childish, but necessary. I've been living in that one-bedroom apartment so they could have their three-bedroom house. Eleanor's face shifts from shock to anger on my behalf. Daphne, that's exploitation. The word lands heavily between us. I've avoided naming it until now. My guest room is yours if you need space when this all comes out, she offers, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. Whatever you decide to do. I thank her, throat tight with unexpected emotion. Having someone firmly in my corner feels foreign, precious. Later that afternoon, Michael from accounting stops by my desk. He survived his own family betrayal 3 years ago, parents who remortgaged their house in his name. He recognizes the signs in me. Remember, setting boundaries isn't cruel, he says quietly. It's the most honest thing you can do for everyone involved. That night, I find myself staring at old family photos. Dad with his arm around me at my high school graduation, his proud smile. Madison is a toothless 7-year-old, clutching my hand on her first day of school. Caleb learning to ride a bike, my hands steadying him from behind. Were those moments real? Or was I always just a resource to them, even then? My phone rings. Mom again. You're bringing that chocolate cake everyone loves, right? Her voice is honey sweet, familiar in its manipulation. Of course, I say, feeling the old guilt rising, threatening to break my resolve. Family is family after all. Maybe I've misunderstood. Maybe. I hang up and play the recorded call again, their cruel laughter filling my quiet apartment. She's basically an ATM with a pulse. It's so easy to guilt her, she always folds. I close the photo album and straighten my shoulders. The doubt recedes, replaced by something cooler, more determined. Sunday dinner is 2 days away. It's time they learn that ATMs can be permanently out of service. The familiar brick colonial looms before me, its windows glowing amber against the twilight sky. I pull my sensible sedan to the curb, cut the engine, and sit motionless. This house, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, with the wraparound porch Dad always wanted, isn't mine, though my name appears on every mortgage payment for the past 5 years. Just breathe, I whisper, gripping the steering wheel. My rehearsed smile feels like a mask already, tight and unnatural. The front door swings open before I reach the porch steps. Madison bounces out, all honey blonde hair and practiced enthusiasm. Daph, you made it! Her arms encircle me, squeezed firmly enough to convince. I catalog the details I once missed. The fresh manicure with intricate designs that couldn't have cost less than $80. The subtle scent of a perfume I recognized from the Nordstrom beauty counter. Wouldn't miss it. My voice emerges steady, betraying none of the tremors I feel inside. Mom appears in the doorway, arms outstretched, her smile wide but eyes calculating. There's my responsible girl. The word lands like a slap now. Responsible. Code for useful. Hi, Mom. I allow myself to be folded into her embrace, noting the cashmere softness of her sweater against my cheek. Medical bills don't typically come with designer labels. Caleb appears last, offering a half-hearted side hug that lasts precisely 2 seconds. Hey, sis. I followed them into the living room I rarely visit despite funding. The walls are decorated with family photos, Madison's graduation, Caleb's high school football days, Mom's 60th birthday cruise. I scan for evidence of my existence, but find nothing more recent than my college graduation. 10 years erased, except for my financial contributions. Is that a new television? I ask, gesturing toward the sleek 65-inch screen dominating the wall. Last month, Caleb had texted about being unable to afford his textbooks. Oh, that old thing? Mom waves dismissively. Black Friday deal. Practically gave it away. Black Friday was 4 months ago. The model came out 6 weeks ago. Madison sits beside me, her freshly manicured hands fidgeting in her lap. French tips with tiny crystals catching the light. The same hands that typed, barely making ends meet in last week's text message. How's work? She asks, not waiting for my response before continuing. I've been absolutely drowning in my thesis research. Professor Saunders is being completely unreasonable about deadlines. The same Professor Saunders she tagged in Instagram photos from a weekend music festival 2 weeks ago. Best professor ever? Works fine, I answer simply. Busy season. Mom brings in a tray of coffee and her famous lemon squares the ones she knows I love. The sugar-dusted treats are carefully arranged, a sweetener for what's coming. They always feed me before asking for money. So, Mom begins after precisely 2 sips of coffee, right on cue. Her voice drops to that familiar, urgent tone. We've had some unexpected news. I take a bite of lemon square, buying time. 5 years of these performances, and I never recognized the pattern. The dramatic pause, the concerned glances between them, the inevitable crisis that only my checkbook can solve. The landlord called yesterday. She shakes her head, eyes downcast. He's raising the rent. Again. $250 more starting next month. Madison's eyes widen on cue. We're already stretched so thin, Daff. I've picked up extra research assistant hours, but it's barely making a dent. Research assistant hours that haven't prevented her from posting poolside margarita photos every Thursday afternoon for the past month. I'm worried about falling behind in school, Caleb adds right on cue. If I have to pick up more delivery shifts, my GPA will tank. His recent Vegas poker tournament winnings apparently insufficient for rent, though adequate for the designer sneakers he's currently wearing. Their glances telegraph between them Mom's slight nod to Madison, Madison's eye flick to Caleb. The synchronized dance of manipulation I now see with painful clarity. That's terrible, I say, my tone appropriately sympathetic. Didn't you just go to that spa resort last month, Mom? The one in the Berkshires? A moment of panic flashes across her face before she recovers. Oh, that was a special deal through my church group. Practically free. The $379 per night tea resort her friend accidentally tagged her at. The $120 hot stone massage she reviewed online. I turned to Madison. That's a beautiful purse. Nordstrom? Her fingers instinctively touched the buttery leather bag beside her. This? No, it's just a really good knockoff from that market downtown. The same bag I priced last week while researching her spending. $450, genuine leather. And Vegas looked fun, Caleb. Your Instagram had some great shots of the Bellagio. He shifts uncomfortably. Just crashed on a buddy's hotel room floor. Barely spent anything. Except the $800 his poker tournament entry cost, prominently displayed in his victory photo. Their momentary panic dissipates quickly, replaced by practiced excuses. The choreography is flawless. They've been performing this play for years. Mom clears her throat, steering the conversation back to the script. About the rent increase. She hesitates, the practiced pause designed to build tension. We were wondering if you might be able to help with the extra $250, just until things stabilize. 3 faces turn to me, expectant. A pointed silence stretches between us. I let it linger longer than usual, watching doubt flicker across Mom's face. Of course I'll help. The words come out exactly as rehearsed. Family comes first, right? Their collective exhale is audible. Shoulders relax, smiles return. Mom reaches over to squeeze my hand, her grip firm with victory. You're an angel, Daphne. I don't know what we'd do without you. When they disappear into the kitchen to prepare dinner, I casually walk to the mail pile on the entryway table. The landlord's official notice sits in plain view, an increase of $50, not $250. I snap a quick photo with my phone. Bathroom? I call out, though I know exactly where it is. Down the hall, honey. Mom answers from the kitchen. Instead, I slip into her bedroom, quickly photographing the bank statement carelessly left on her nightstand. The spa charges are highlighted in yellow. Mom's way of tracking business expenses for tax write-offs she doesn't qualify for. Back in the dining room, I position my phone casually on the table, voice memo recording as Mom returns with a roast that cost more than the groceries in my refrigerator. To family, Mom says, raising her glass. To family, we echo, and I smile, knowing this performance is almost over. Sometimes revenge doesn't require confrontation. Sometimes it's simply about gathering evidence until the truth becomes undeniably even to yourself. The clock on my laptop reads 11:59 p.m. Rent is due at midnight. My fingers hover over the keyboard, the payment form filled out to the last digit $1,450 that will drain my account yet again. The cursor blinks over the submit payment button, waiting for the click that's come automatically for 5 years. But tonight, something has changed. I think of the recording saved on my phone ATM with a pulse, and close the laptop with a soft click that sounds like freedom. I power off my phone completely and place it in my nightstand drawer, burying it beneath a novel I haven't had time to read. The silence in my apartment feels strange, almost uncomfortable. For the first time in years, I am unreachable to them. Madison's first text arrives at 6:22 a.m. Hey, rent's due today. By noon, Mother's message appears. Landlord called about the payment. Everything okay? By 3 o'clock, Caleb joins the chorus. Mom's really stressed about the rent. Call her as soon as possible. The evening brings escalation. Where's the money, Daphne? We're counting on you. And finally, as midnight approaches again, if you don't pay, we'll be evicted. How could you do this to us? I watch the messages accumulate on my reactivated phone, each one stripping away another layer of their performance. The pretense of care dropping away with each passing hour, revealing the naked desperation beneath. I'd like to change all my account passwords and set up additional security measures, I tell the bank representative. Her name tag reads Janice, and her eyes widen slightly at my comprehensive list of requests. 2 hours later, I walk out with new cards, new pins, new online credentials, and the unsettling knowledge that Madison had attempted to access my savings account last Christmas, something the bank had flagged but never reported to me. That afternoon, I methodically work through my list. I remove my credit card from our shared Netflix and Hulu accounts. I call the electric company to confirm I'm not listed on my mother's utilities, despite having paid them for years. I delete payment methods from Amazon and change the password. By evening, I've created a new email address and ordered a new phone number, a clean slate. Each step feels like dismantling a piece of the cage I've lived in. Is this really necessary? Eleanor asks when I explain my actions over coffee. I show her the spreadsheet of emergencies that aligned perfectly with my bonuses. They've taken almost $90,000 from me. I say, the number's still shocking even to me. What happens when they realize? She asks. They already have, I say, showing her my phone screen with 37 missed calls. On the third day, I answer Madison's call. Where have you been? Her voice explodes through the speaker, raw panic stripping away her usual calculated sweetness. We need the money now. I sit at my small dining table, Spreadsheets of their financial lies spread before me like a roadmap of exploitation. I've been thinking a lot about our family dynamic, I say, my voice steady in a way that surprises even me. We don't have time for this. Madison's voice rises, edging toward hysteria. The landlord is threatening eviction. I'm making some changes in how I support the family. The words come out firm, a boundary made of sound. There's a shuffling, and then my mother's voice cuts in, sharp as a blade. Daphne, what's the meaning of this? I recognize the tone, the one that made me fold countless times, the voice of authority that now sounds hollow. In the background, Caleb pleads, then curses. I know the rent is actually $1,200, not $1,450. Silence, complete and revealing. I don't understand what you're talking about, my mother finally says, but her voice has lost its edge. I think you do. I traced the number on my spreadsheet, $250 extra each month for 3 years, $9,000 in fabricated rent. I've been looking into a lot of things lately. You're confused. She attempts, but uncertainty makes her voice waver. No, Mom. For the first time in years, I see everything very clearly. Listen to me, young lady, she begins, but the authority in her voice rings false now. I'll be over tomorrow at 6, I interrupt. We can discuss new arrangements then. You can't just... Madison tries to cut in. I can, and I am. I hang up before they can respond. I sit with this strange, bittersweet feeling of having done something both terrible and necessary. The weight on my shoulders hasn't disappeared, it's transformed into something I can finally carry without breaking. My phone lights up again immediately. I silence it and look at the framed photo of my father on my desk. I'm still taking care of the family, Dad, I whisper, just not the way they wanted me to. For the first time in years, I think he might actually be proud. I park my car a block away from the house-me house, technically, or at least the one I've been paying for. My reflection in the rearview mirror shows someone I barely recognize. Back straight, chin up, eyes clear. No hint of the woman who spent years hunched over spreadsheets, calculating how to help a family that saw me as nothing more than an ATM with a pulse. The manila folder on the passenger seat contains every piece of evidence I've collected. Bank statements, social media screenshots, text messages they never thought I'd see, a calculator showing the grand total, $87,452. My life reduced to a number they took for granted. You've got this, I whisper to myself, the words hanging in the still air of my car. The walk to their front door feels like crossing a threshold between my old life and whatever comes next. Through the window, I can see them pacing. Linda's hair is uncombed, Madison's mascara smudged, and Caleb's expression hovers somewhere between fury and fear. I don't knock. My key still works, though after today, I won't need it anymore. Their heads snap toward me when I enter. The eviction notice sits prominently on the coffee table, the bold red lettering visible from where I stand. The house smells of desperation and burnt coffee. How could you do this to your own mother? Linda launches immediately, her voice cracking with practiced vulnerability. She's wearing the cashmere sweater I bought her last Christmas while she claimed to need money for winter utilities. Madison's eyes well, with tears on cue. Daphne, please, we'll be homeless. Caleb stands against the wall, arms crossed, hostile. Real nice, sis, real family-oriented of you. I place my purse carefully on the entryway table and step into the living room. My footsteps sound different somehow, deliberate. The sound of someone who knows exactly where they're going. I'd like to play something for you, I say, my voice steadier than it's been in 5 years. Before they can protest, I place my phone on the coffee table and press play. The sound of clinking glasses and laughter fills the room. Then, Madison's voice clears a bell. Can you believe Daphne still thinks she's helping us? The blood drains from their faces as they hear their own words. Linda's laugh, brittle and cruel. She's basically an ATM with a pulse. Caleb's slurred mockery. She owes us for not having kids or a husband. Madison again, calculating. Let's tell her rent went up by $250. Linda's greedy addition. Get her to cover utilities in my spa days too. The final knife twist, Madison's casual cruelty. It's so easy to guilt her, she always folds. Linda lurches forward. Turn that off. I raise my hand and she freezes. It's the first time in my adult life I've silenced her with a gesture. No, I say simply. You're going to listen. All of you. I pull out the bank statements next, laying them methodically on the table. The rent on this house is $1,200 per month. For 5 years, I've been paying you $1,450, believing I was helping with utilities. I tap the paper. Where did that extra $12,000 go, Mom? Linda's mouth opens and closes. And these, I continue, spreading out social media screenshots. Madison's Cabo trip during her financial emergency last spring. Caleb's new gaming system when he was struggling with textbook costs. Mom's spa weekend when she had medical bills. You were spying on us? Caleb sputters. No, I was finally paying attention. I pull out my calculator next, displaying the total. Their eyes widen as they see the number. $87,452. That's what I've given you over 5 years, not loan given. While I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment with aging appliances and postponed dental work. While I took a second job bartending weekends. Madison tries to interrupt, but I continue, my voice gaining strength. I'm done being your ATM. As of today, there will be no more financial support of any kind. The panic in their eyes is immediate and visceral. You can't do this, Linda says, her tone shifting from accusation to bargaining. We're family. The eviction notice gives you 2 weeks, I say, unmoved. I suggest you start packing. We'll pay you back, Madison offers desperately. We just need a little more time. This isn't about the money, I say. It's about the lies, the manipulation, the mockery. Caleb steps forward, his stance threatening. So that's it? You're just cutting us off? Yes, I reply, the simplicity of the word almost beautiful. I reach into my pocket and pull out my house key, placing it on the table with a soft click. Family isn't measured by what you can take, I say, looking at each of them in turn, but by what you freely give. Linda scoffs, but there's fear behind her eyes. You'll regret this, Daphne. You'll be all alone. For the first time in 5 years, I smile with genuine relief. I already was. I turn and walk toward the door, my steps lighter with each foot forward. Behind me, their voices rise in protest, bargaining, threats. I take out my phone and, with 3 quick taps, delete their contact information as I cross the threshold. The spring sunlight hits my face as I close the door on that chapter of my life. The weight I've carried for years lifts from my shoulders, and I take my first deep breath as someone who finally understands that saying no can be the most powerful form of self-respect. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows, casting golden patterns across my hardwood floors. I trace my fingers along the rim of a delicate porcelain teacup part of the set Grandma left me that spent years carefully wrapped in storage. Too precious to use, I told myself. But today, like every day this past year, I choose differently. Are you sure I can't help with anything? Eleanor calls from the living room where she's arranging a bouquet of fresh tulips bright yellow, like the throw pillows I splurged on last month. Just relax, I answer, sliding a tray of appetizers from the oven. You've done enough. My apartment echoes with laughter as Michael arrives, wine bottle in hand, regaling everyone with his latest courtroom victory. His baritone fills spaces that once held only silence and spreadsheets. A year ago, my dining table groaned under the weight of financial calculations and family obligations. Now it boasts a spread for friends who expect nothing beyond my company. When the doorbell chimes, I welcome Lydia, my mentor from Eastern Investment Partners who saw potential in me once I had space to grow. After her comes Marcus from the community center where I volunteer Tuesday evenings, my helping nature channeled productively, not parasitically. To Daphne, Eleanor raises her glass, eyes crinkling with genuine pride. 1 year of freedom. On my refrigerator, beneath travel magnets from Tuscany and the Maine coast strips, No longer perpetually postponed sits a sealed envelope. Linda's handwriting, unmistakable after all these years. It arrived 3 weeks ago, still unopened. The anxiety it once would have triggered has mellowed to mild curiosity. My phone occasionally displays Madison's blocked email subject lines, promising accountability, but body text undoubtedly lacking it. Last week, Caleb sent a message through a mutual friend about missing his sister. These attempts slide off me like rain on a newly sealed roof. You'll know when you're ready, my therapist said during yesterday's session. Boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. You get to decide what passes through and when. After dinner, as conversations break into smaller groups, Samantha, a junior analyst, pulls me aside. I started that spreadsheet you suggested, she whispers, a familiar weight in her voice. I'm supporting my brother through his third career change while paying mom's credit card bills. I recognize the shadows under her eyes, the same ones that haunted my mirror for 5 years. Your spreadsheet has 2 columns. I tell her not as a broken woman bitter at the world, but as someone who's climbed the mountain and can guide others. What you give and what it costs you. But there should be a 3rd column, what you save for yourself. Her eyes widen, as if I've suggested something revolutionary. Later, as my guests gather their coats, my phone lights up with notification of the promotion I've been working toward. Senior Vice President of Portfolio Management. The celebration erupts immediately, genuine joy unmixed with calculation or envy. These people want nothing from me but happiness. On my balcony, after everyone leaves, I watch the sunset paint the Boston skyline in amber and purple. My emergency fund is robust, retirement accounts recovering, and next month I'll make my first contribution to a scholarship for students who lost parents young. I open my journal, fingers tracing the leather cover worn smooth by nightly reflections. Today marks 1 year of freedom. I choose to help, not to be used. The horizon spreads before me like an unwritten story. Somewhere across the city, my blood relatives continue without my subsidies. But here, in this space I've reclaimed, I've learned a powerful truth. Sometimes the family you need isn't the family you were born into.